Dun, 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 dun,
Dun
dun.
dun dun dun
It's
dun.
horrifying. It's terrifying because it's Wednesday, man. It's not Friday yet, but it's the middle of the week. Maybe we can entertain you for a hot second.
We're live.
With some of the things that we found going on in the world of Linux. A little pre-show
Yay.
going on.
Yeah.
You were
Hi,
just
Zoe.
expounding about the wonders that are proprietary power supplies. And it's like you're about to talk. Yeah, there's the word Dell.
Dell. Yes.
Though, to be fair, it's like, yeah, the Optiplexes, they have stupid proprietary power supplies that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, their laptop power supplies, you can basically use one of these. This is a 180 watt Dell power supply. And
Nice.
if you have a motherboard that'll take an external power supply, this will work just fine.
Yeah. I have that very same unit. Yes, they're great.
Well,
Aw.
you know, I personally don't worry. I mean, if you have a Dell, make sure you have a Pennywise.
Yes. There's that.
You want Optiplexes? How many?
Yeah.
You need chips? Bam, what do you need? Faceplates? I'm quite secure with that. I know
Yeah.
if I need a replacement part.
Yay, we have a Zoe, we have a Riot Tenchi, we have an Artherin, and a Katana Steel.
I would just like to
Yay.
welcome everybody as well. Unlike Jill, I do not collect viewers. How's everybody doing?
And a Steve husband. Yay.
Yeah, it's a handheld monolith.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi,
and
Mayor PPC.
the 330 watt power supplies that they make, they have like little baffles for heat dissipation.
Heat dissipation's a important thing. Did you see that? I posted that on Twitter. That they're making the 14 US Noctua threadripper cooler.
Oh, yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
I didn't see
They're,
that.
they're making a 15,
Oh.
which is two of those
No.
blocks.
Yeah.
Where's that going to fit?
Oh. Hi,
In
Sorcerer.
a really big case.
Well, you know, I do have a mini ITX known as the 750D, and that's a tight fit. Just on the motherboard, it's a tight fit. There's a reason my video card is in the third PCI Express by 16 slot. Because while it will technically fit, it rubs the back plate.
Oh. I mean, that's why the backplate is there, right? That's why they started doing
Pedro,
that.
I tried to live that life for about 3 days, and it was bugging me. I was like, nah, man. It is a thing. Gotta keep cool.
There it is, Steve husband.
What's
Your
that?
monolith. That's his 2001 monolith.
Steve showing off his toys.
Yes.
Well, I want to be like Steve when I grow up. I do.
Yes.
Didn't really bring any of my toys with me. Unless you count that
Aw.
cheapo Lenovo laptop. That's about it.
Yeah, Pennywise, we were just talking about you. And Dell Optiplexes, small form factor.
What's up?
Yes, Steve husband. On the package of the 2001 monolith, that's what it says. 0 points of articulation. Because it's supposed to be an action figure.
It's the action figure of the monolith from the hit 2001 A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, man.
It's just a block of blackness. Yes, it's accurate.
Yes.
To scale.
It's probably the same company that was like the was it Uncle Owen and whatever the Star Wars figurines. You know what
It's
I'm
just
talking about.
skeletons.
Stash.
Yes, Boo. Warning, may cause other toys to become sentient. Sentient. Yes.
I'm
Man.
sorry, Dave. I cannot let
Yes.
you do that.
Good Pedro.
We do that at work a lot because Dave.
Pedro, how dare
Oh, okay. Yes.
you? Dare you quote a movie made before you were born?
Yeah.
When did that come out?
It was made before I was born too. So
Yeah.
69, 60.
Was it
I'm
the 60s? It
forgetting
was
Steve
either
Husband.
60s or like right at the front of the 70s.
No, it's 60s. 68, 69. So ahead of its time. 1968.
Yeah.
Steve Husband has more knowledge on that movie than I think just about anyone. He has every book, every interview, every biography.
April 3rd, 1968.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, just say that's a crap movie, by the way.
There he goes. Steve Husband, he's trying to get you riled up.
I'm not trying to get him riled up. I'm sharing my opinion. It's a boring movie. They could deal with an edit. Because there's a solid 35, 40 minutes of that movie. It's like we're not doing anything.
It is one of those movies that you have to see on the big screen. You know, they rent it here at the Hollywood theaters and whatnot.
DDR3.
Because it makes a big difference seeing it huge. There's no
Yes, you're
comparison.
short. I pulled out a motherboard that had 4 sticks on it before we started the live stream, and now I feel inadequate. Hello, not a duck.
I don't keep a lot of RAM laying around.
Yeah, I have that DDR3 because
Yeah, I have
it's the one
tons.
that was in that motherboard.
I tend to give the RAM away with a board. It's like one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you doing here with that memory? I'm like, nope, here. It's like, I don't need the mother that comes with it. They'll get lonely without each other.
Yes, there you go.
You don't want to
The
break
one
up a
thing-
family.
One thing I have is a lot of laptop RAM.
I'm not poking egos. Come on.
Laptop RAM.
You see, here's the thing. All of that can bounce around in a drawer for a decade. It'll still work. But that one stick that you've taken care of, dead.
Yep. Let's see, DDR3L. DDR4. 8 gigs of DDR4.
Nice. So dim.
I
So
got
dim.
some...
DDR2.
Oh, man. I was about to say, I have an 8 gig module of DDR2 because I had to RAM. This was
Those are pricey.
They were.
Those are really pricey.
not
Yeah.
as
They
bad as
still
they are.
are.
Now. Right. I mean, they're
Yeah.
fine now. It's a big chungus too. It's like, whoa, that looks different.
Yeah, no, this is only 2 gigs of DDR2 SODIMM.
Did you see the who is it making the 128 gig DDR4? Or like the double height. Ace,
I saw
was
that.
it? Was it? I don't think it was Ace. They don't make RAM.
Corsair?
Hey, Romlock.
Might have been.
It was either Corsair or Kingston, I think. DDR3, 2 gigs of DDR3, yeah. Laptops I get off eBay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
2 gigs of DDR3.
Yeah, I was moving
What
some
are you-
DNS stuff around, so we got 2 Pedro, we got Rumlock too.
Yes. That's what I.
4 gigs of the dual layer 4 gigabytes of DDR3. And the pair that goes with it. So if you have a laptop that can do dual channel,
Right on, right.
yeah, good luck finding that.
Ah. I have no wait. Nope, I have no laptop memory unless it's in a laptop. I think I have 2 laptops in this house.
Yeah. I have many,
Yeah.
but they're mostly old laptops from my collection. I do have
Yeah.
several new ones, but not like Pedro. Pedro has a lot more new ones than I do.
The newest laptop I have is the ThinkPad X240.
Oh, well, I guess. Yeah, okay. So we're about tied then. Well, you have you have Chromebooks too.
Oh,
which are
yeah, I
newer.
have
Yeah,
the
you have
Chromebook,
Chromebooks
yes.
that are newer than mine. So you do have something
Yes.
newer than mine.
Everything's a Chromebook if you're brave enough.
Yes. But-
What? I can take my desktop and open up Chrome, hit F11, and be like, look, it's Chromebook.
yes.
Someone at some point was trying to implement like the desktop environment that Chrome OS uses and make it available. I don't know
Oh,
if that
yeah.
ever went anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I remember testing it several years ago, but I haven't kept up with it.
That reminds me, I need to mute you. And no, Nathan, I didn't forget about yesterday, you calling me in the middle of the stream.
Oh.
Man, you should put it on speakerphone, made some content with it, and be like, hey, what's up?
If I had like one of those combo 3.5 mil jacks plugged in with a splitter
Hold
to
it up
this
to the
box,
mic, it works just fine, man. Trust me. Downfire it right there. Like, hey, how's it going? Look at you, man, trying to deal. You got some little ram scales. Be like,
baggies.
yeah, right? Pennywise is the only person I know who sells memory by the ounce.
Yeah. I do still have a big bucket of Sims, literally from my 386s and 486s. Big bucket that I got from a business. From my old
Which ones did
computers.
Pentium 4s use?
Dims.
Those were in Sims. Those were already Dims, yeah.
Yeah.
Dims have been around longer than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had actually my first DIM, and it was actually the first motherboard that had a DIM, was one of my Pentium Pros. That it was functional because I had other motherboards like an Pentium 1 and 2 that had a DIM slot, but they didn't work. It was like a testing thing. They were just trying out the.
This was a real thing. I remember
Yeah.
the first time we had Sims on it, but it had this weird slot. And we're like, what's this
Yeah.
thing? And we had to go through
Yeah.
the manual. And it's like, it's a DIMM. Internet sucked back then. It was like, oh, we don't know. Okay, maybe that's
Yeah.
something enough for it.
Yeah.
The only thing I have that takes Sims is like some of my old Sun hardware.
Yeah, definitely.
Matched pair Sunram. Good times,
Oh,
kid.
yes.
I think it was my mom's. Mom had a computer that had to take matched RAM no matter what.
Yeah.
And it had 128 megs with 264 meg whatever sticks on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's not enough. We need more. So my dad bought, I think it was 256 megabyte sticks. It's like, no, it has 640. It's
Yeah.
more than you'll ever need.
This is the thing. I mean, like, matched pair can be important. On older Sun hardware, the two things I'll run
Yeah.
into, especially on like Starfires or anything like that, random reboots is somebody in the IT department.
Uh-huh.
They let a normie.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can just upgrade that, and they'll do the thing. There's two things. Non-matched memory, there's a reason that stuff's expensive on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Or you get it from Ugly Duckling. Great place if you need a lot of something. Or case grounding issue. That's two things that will cause mysterious reboots in a Starfire, especially with the AAA revision motherboards that are running like OBP4 or less. Boring information that's only useful
No,
to collect money.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, all my, workstations are like that. My Deck Alpha has to have matched SGI machines. That's just, especially, all the RISC-based ones. They almost always had to have matched. But a lot of my Dell workstations as well, the higher end ones have to have matched RAM as well.
So we're living in 2019. Matched RAM means something different nowadays.
Yeah.
What does it mean now, Jill? You know.
Well, it just wants 2 DIMMs of the same size, really.
Yeah, not what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Mhm.
Pedro, what's matched RAM mean in 2019?
Same timings?
Nope. Both of you are disappointing. In 2019, matched RAM means it has the same color integrated heat spreaders on it.
No.
Oh, right, it's the stupid option. I used to be good at Google Feud. Clearly, clearly, I've lost my touch.
It's 2019. I was trying to emphasize this. 2019.
No, see,
Yeah.
if you were going that way, it should have been RGBs.
Well, you can.
Sync the RGBs.
Right. It's like,
Because RAM slots now have one of those pins that used to be ground now actually syncs the RGBs to one another.
oh. This would be like the legitimate. This would be my level practical joke if somebody broke into my house and like RGB'd the inside of this thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, touche. I would respect that's what I'm saying.
The new Asus 3440 by 1440 ultra wide curved monitor.
Oh, that
With-
like $2,000.
Yeah,
yeah,
$2,500 or
200
whatever.
hertz overclock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has RGB on the back. You could have gone with ambient lighting like the Hue thing that Sony and LG do. But no, it's just RGB lighting. Kudos, Asus. Pointlessness.
200 hertz UHD at that size for $2,000. That's what they're selling. Pedro is pointlessness.
G-Sync. It's the G-Sync that's racking that up a little
It's
bit.
the branding of that monitor is pointlessness. Nobody is looking at that and is like, yeah, well, like, that's cool. I can respect that. That is complete utter disregard for money. I'm like, I could get a better performing monitor, but no. Oh man, you can always cut RGB on RAM. Like, that's not a problem. Got an X-Acto nut? Man, you can. Do you have some electrical tape?
Yeah. Now these wires go nowhere. Just gone.
I'm not against cutting traces. This was one of the first things I did with that GTX 980 when I was like, wait, I can't cut this thing off? Because even with a regular case panel where the ventilation holes had like white dots. It's like, nope. Where's that lead at? Yep. There we go. We're done. Yeah, that's LPX is what I use, I think. Corsair?
Corsair memory. They do make the RGB versions, and they make like the super special RGB that has like a diamond cut thing on the top. That's the super premium RAM.
These no. Premium. Okay, back to the what does premium mean in 2019? What Pedro just said.
Yes. Extra RGB.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Vengeance
Refill
LPX.
time.
How did you just open that up? He makes no apologies.
Yes.
G-Skill. Well, I like
Yeah.
the Corsair Vengeance for Ryzens and Threadrippers because I can tell you can clock it to 3200 out of the box. You don't have to worry with it. And it doesn't blink. Yeah. And it's cheap too. Well, it is today. It might not be tomorrow.
Yes.
It's like 70 or 80 bucks for a 16 gig kit. But anyways, I got some of those, man. PC toys, the copper ones that you clipped over. Those were definitely a thing. Why are you being so quiet, Jill? What's wrong?
Oh, I was just thinking about our we were talking about matched RAM.
Uh-huh.
I was remembering the back with the deck alphas, not only, of course, matched size and speed, and ECC, but often they had to be matched from the same batch, or sometimes they wouldn't work. Like if the aluminum was it was the wrong kind of, the metal was a little bit off
Oh,
from
yeah.
another manufacturer. Sometimes they wouldn't. It was much harder to match RAM back then.
It's why you bought matched pairs, yeah.
Yeah.
At the
But
bad old days.
Yeah, battle. I had one set I had bought actually for my Deck Alpha back there. This was years ago, and it turned out that two of the sticks came from different manufacturing plants, and they didn't work together. So I had to return
they're G
them.
skills. My bad. They're not Corsairs. They're G skills. There you go. That's the Trident Z.
Yeah, man. Remember that bit
Yeah.
on the Chappelle show? Just like I put diamonds in
skills.
my stuff so my dookie sparkles. That's all I'm thinking every time I see that.
Rims everywhere.
I think I'm gonna go take a break real quick before we start.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I had a look on Amazon today, and RAM is still going down. The set that I bought, the 3600 16 gig, it cost me £180 back in 2017. Now it costs 120.
$70,
pretty good.
man. $70 for a 16 gig kit.
Yeah, you could get the 3200s for 72 or 73 pounds here. But hey, supposedly the Ryzen 3000s like faster RAM, so maybe I'll finally be able to use these at 3600.
I had these running at 3400 in the 1700.
Mhm.
But they did.
They can do 3486. I think that's the speed.
With doing the quad channel on Threadripper, I was like 32. We're good.
Yeah, this one, it seems really happy at 3200. Any higher above that, and it actually feels like stuff is slower, but it is stable at 3466. Sorry. Yeah, it seems slower, and running like a Geekbench, it's like 0.3% difference in the test, so it doesn't really make any significant difference.
No.
So 3200, there we go.
You gotta dealing with like some marginal. I know the internet loves this, like, but the difference between 2100 and 3200. There's a difference, but we're not talking a night and day.
No.
No.
If you're talking game-wise, you get 1, perhaps 2 extra FERPs.
Percent or two. I mean, it's worth doing if you can do it. It doesn't cost you anything. It's getting the maximum performance. Again, I was really impressed that the Geekbench for the what is the 8-core 16 part? Wait, well, yeah.
Yeah,
it 8?
the 3800X, yeah.
The 3800X is like very good. The single-threaded performance is faster than my 1920X. And the multi-core performance on that is within 10,000 of the 1920X. That,
And it's got 2 less cores.
yeah,
Or 4 less cores.
that's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's one of the stories we're going to talk about on the show, so I won't spoil it, but it's looking pretty good. Don't screw it up, AMD, please.
They're not. I think AMD's been very responsible this go around. There's not much in the way of hype. And the only people that were disappointed with the Navi hype were the ones who created the hype. AMD never once walked out and they're like, this is like a mid-range thing we're releasing for Navi.
Yeah, this is like the next iteration, and let's be honest, the RX 480, 580, 590, they all have the same GPU, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, that's the thing. Even AMD's like, yo, if you want the fast one, get the previous generation. That's called a The Radeon 7, right?
Yeah. It's still Vega, but it is like RTX 2080 fast. So
Did you see the thing on Amazon? I posted it on Twitter for everyone. Follow me on Twitter. I don't know. Don't do that. But Amazon had a deal for the 1080 Ti for $600.
I saw you talking about that in Discord with
Yeah, on
Jordan.
Discord.
Like, how much did that cost?
It's like, how much was that thing? It was like $1,200. I was like, that's what I thought, man. Yeah, this is. I just wanted to double check before because I don't like spamming people. I'm like, hey, go buy this thing on Amazon. It's like, no, this is a good deal. I mean, if you're
And
in
did
the market.
you see the rumors today that they're going to be releasing the Super on July 2nd?
You should follow me on Twitter, Pedro.
Yeah, no, I do follow you on Twitter, but I didn't have a chance to go on Twitter.
And also, it's the I'm super. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. It's
Is it-
like, oh, AMD is releasing on the 7th. Okay, let's undercut them by like 5 days. There,
It's
done.
the NVIDIA Super TFA.
Yeah. Yeah, 16 core Ryzen, even the 32.
Subchips.
The,
Well, the 16 core, the only I like the 16 core. It's a great value, but I've ran into a lot of people that get stabby and was like, well, it's going to be what, $700. I'm like, that's a really good price.
For 16 cores, yeah.
You know, the Rome part for Epic, and they're like, yeah, the 64 core is going to start roughly around, you know, $3 to $5 grand, depending. And I'm like, that's a really good price. You got a straw for a bottle. What's wrong with you?
Ben. Well, you have a straw on your container,
It's
but
also
yes.
not a bottle.
Well, I'm
My
going to
defense.
fix that. This is temporary for now, because I
see-
have.
Okay, if I was doing that, you would have a case. However, I'm not.
Yes, yes. I do have tea in my cup here.
Also, kids, stainless steel straws, they're awesome.
Yeah, metal straws are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get one of those, Ben, and they're nice and long too.
You can get a couple of them. I got like a 3 or 4 pack. I was at the grocery and they're like, hey, stainless steel straws exist. And I'm like, yeah, they do. Yoink. And they come with like little rubber things so you don't like knock your damn teeth out.
Mm-hmm.
Which they're not on there. So you spend like the first half of the day going, this is rough, man. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, there we go.
I have a metal thing on top of my vape. Every now and then I find myself biting it. It's like...
I got like 2 with a metal tip, but these are, I forget the material they're made out of. They're a hypotemp olum. So, 16.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Because I noticed you were using straws, Ben, so I figured that was a good idea.
Well, yes, straws are awesome. Also, plastic straws are only owned by people who hate the environment.
Yeah.
To be fair, Nori, I bought Nori like a pack of 7 or 8 silly straws. The
Yeah.
ones with the loops and everything.
I like those, yeah. Yeah, all now here in Cali, it's all paper straws at the restaurants. I don't
Yeah,
think I can
McDonald's
even-
does that here
Yeah.
too. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't even finish my drink because the straw's already melting.
Deteriorated, yeah. If they have the wax coating, they're pretty good, but if they don't, forget it. It's really strange though. So I have this pack of plastic straws we've had for like 10 years, and yeah, as I hardly used to use straws.
That does look like chicken sorceress.
All right, let's do a show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grilling chicken. You need to wrap it in aluminium foil because that really angers people on the internet for some reason when they see foil on a grill. I'm like, oh, you're doing it wrong.
You kind of need to do that with, especially turkey, unless you want to eat, I don't know, a slab of wood by the time it's done.
No, dude, turkey and marshmallows. Really difficult to grill marshmallows. Not saying it's impossible.
See, that would be worse than pineapple on pizza.
Marshmallows.
And for the record, I like pineapple on pizza.
Okay. That's good. And that's loaded. All right. What?
Chibsy apparently wasn't seeing us live on YouTube.
It's live on YouTube. I believe. Didn't you get a notification?
Oh,
Yeah.
More than the notification, I had the tab open and I waited until
Yeah.
it started to close it.
It's YouTube, man.
Leave mayo at a pizza. I like mayo, but come on.
All right. Give me a clap sync, Pedro. I've got this thing within. Oh, hang on. I've got it within 5 milliseconds.
Okay.
Slowly dying.
That should be less than your brain is able to tell, right?
You would think. Not mine.
Yeah.
That is not a humble brag. That is like. Grrr. All right. All right. Get comfortable. Hide your windows.
But I opened my windows because it's stupid hot in here.
And what did it get up to, like 18?
Yeah. To be fair, it only capped out at like 22, but pretty hot considering 90% humidity.
It's 32 degrees outside right now, so shut up.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
In 3, 2, and welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we can sit back, relax, take that midweek break, and just kind of have a chat about some of the things we found interesting
Yay!
going on in the world of Linux, open source. Pedro's like, we're going to talk about AMD processors. And I'm like, Pedro, but we're going to talk. Okay, fine. We're going to be doing that
Well,
later.
I snuck that one story in
Yes.
There's no stopping the Pedro signal.
there.
Yay!
I'm Ben Stone. That is one Jill Bryant, and that AMD loving fanboy over there is one Pedro Mateus.
With an NVIDIA GPU, yes.
With an
hello.
NVIDIA. Oh, you're gonna short circuit the haters, man. They're like... Hey everyone, joining us live. We're gonna do a thing. What's going on, beautiful people? Jill.
Oh, yes.
Did you? It takes Jill roughly 2.5 to 3 months to finish a computer.
No, it was just I just took my time with this one. You got
I honestly
have-
think you forgot about it. You're like, oh, what was it?
When we go to the big shot, you'll see it. I have a big, beautiful pink computer for my new LGC broadcasting rig, and I'm rocking Pop OS on it. Yay! And an AMD RX 560, and it has been running smoothly with gaming at Ultra HD, playing Distance, the Talos Principle, Valley. And in the Friday Foo Bar, we played Dota Underlords, and I played it in 3300 by 1800. That was pretty cool.
Quit lying to the people. Neither one of us played at Dota Underlord.
Yes,
You
yes.
watched as the characters did
Auto
things.
chess. Yes.
Yeah, we clicked on things happened. We're like, all right. The main reason I did it because I was just hoping somebody had been playing it for the past 2 days and were screaming like, "You need to get good, scrub!" And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Pedro, what's up, man? How you doing? You doing good?"
Well,
That's
over
great.
here,
Good to
yeah,
hear.
I'm slowly melting a little bit because it's like 22 whole Celsius outside, but it's 90% humidity, so it's terrible.
Do you ever call your parents up and like complain and they're important?
Yeah,
They're
and
like,
then my
"You've
mom
changed."
goes, It's like, yeah, it's 45 Celsius outside. It's like, all right, never mind.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
We do have weather conversations constantly because, especially
Yeah.
with our Team Canadian podcaster on Saturdays, he's short in a t-shirt and he's like, yeah, it's 10.
Yeah.
Canada
It's
weather.
hot. Yes.
Oh man, I had a fun experience. I like almost chemically destroyed my face. That's what it felt like.
Oh.
It genuinely did. Don't get curious, kids. Well, okay, get curious. Just don't complain. I'm not complaining. I just want you-
Science.
Yeah, right. No, this is just good old-fashioned old man Vin stupidity. I straight up was like buying some rubbing alcohol. It's, just regular stuff for like random injuries that you get. And they had what are they called? They go over your nose. They're like nose peely strip things.
Yeah, nose strips.
Nose strips. I'd seen they've been out forever. And I was like, I've never tried those. I want this. This is how it always ends or starts. It's like just leave well enough alone. You don't need. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try those. I'm gonna buy that. Whatever. Haven't even tried them. I was like, what's in the package? And it had like a facial cleanse mask.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on with this? I'll throw it away. It's like, no, self-heating. It's like, I gotta try this.
Reckless
man.
self-endangerment, ladies and gentlemen.
It's self-heated, man. That thing hurt.
Oh, poor Van. Oh.
That was not a fun experience. Outside of that, I've been bouncing around for the past yesterday after Steam got it. So there's a Steam summer sale on Linux and gaming.
Yay.
It's a beautiful thing. We even do a show about it. Go check it out. Couldn't find anything I wanted to buy. And I looked.
Yeah, it's slim pickings
Yeah.
right about now. Proton did open a couple of doors, but
Even with Proton, it was like, I'll burn a heretic purchase. And couldn't. And
Yeah.
I feel kind of, but hey, there are some deals. They're not deals like, is it just me? Didn't they used to be like really great Insta-buy deals?
yeah,
Yeah,
they
like
used to be. It's like that
$5.99.
game. Yeah,
$6.
that game
Yeah.
you've heard about on all of the gaming sites. 90% off. So oh, gimme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's like 50% off. That's still 12
Yeah.
I
pounds.
was going to buy a copy of my friend Pedro and send it to you, but I was like, that wasn't discounted enough. I was like,
I
don't
am
like you
nothing
that
if
much,
not a
right?
narcissist.
Right. I thought it'd be cute. It might still happen. All right, beautiful people. We're not going to skip around. We got to get right into it. We got to talk about
Yes.
this thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think the internet's finally calmed down. Last week, we gave a mention that Canonical was like, peace out, 32-bit, that's old hat. We don't do it anymore. Tiny Rick, and they ran off. And talking about the upcoming 1910 and 2004 LT release, they were going to they've already dropped 32-bit ISOs. Everybody was cool with that, but then they were going to get rid of multi-arch, which for i386 is going to be a problem for things like Wine, Steam, Ubuntu Studio, a lot of audio production stuff, and the internet collectively went, you did what, mate?
You what, mate?
Yes.
So they've kind of rolled back. This was we're just going to get to the end thing. We're not going to dance around because I was like, oh, drama and all that. I'm not concerned about the drama. Plan 2 from Canonical is they will build selected 32-bit i386 packages for 1910 and 2004 LTS. So the immediate panic you can kind of tamp down a little bit. And they will also be working with Wine, Ubuntu Studio, and Steam to use the upcoming container technology to address the ultimate end-of-life 32-bit libraries.
They did say it's like when they say that, it's like, yeah, they specifically don't mention Valve on that bit.
Yes.
Okay, that little bit of drama was almost too funny to... Not funny in a good way, especially if you're like tied into Canonical and that's like your thing, which I know some people get really huggy, clingy with the distributions because like, hey, we're talking to Valve, and I'm like, okay, because that's what I was saying last week was, all right, so they have a plan coming forward. Then Perrier,
Pierre-Loup Préfet,
Yeah,
but close
Yes.
enough.
every
Yeah.
time I think about it, my mental image is the bottle of Perrier, green, fizzy French water.
Plagman.
Plagman. There we
Yes.
go. That my brain can work with. He's like, yeah, peace out. We're done. with Canonical, and it's like I didn't expect that. I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah.
Negotiations didn't go so well,
No.
but
Mhm.
you know, you can look at it like this. This is a good, no matter, because I know everyone was like, we've defeated. It's okay. It's especially good when a company can change its mind. They're like, oh, we heard this is a bad
Yes.
idea, so we're going to correct course. Or, you know, maybe we wanted to do this, but this would affect the community. Course correction. That should get a little bit of applause. You know, like, hey, that's
Yes.
good. You didn't double down. You know, having a contingency plan seems like it's a logical choice. Maybe should have been done in the first place. That's arguable. I do want to say, you know, maybe we don't get to have the collective, you know, we did it party, as the internet loves to do, because I think this basically boiled down to the responses from like one, Steam, Ubuntu Studio, basically and collectively going, have fun with that. We're not playing ball on that. And so you kind of got to come up with something, which
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, Jill?
Mhm. Yeah, so you know, as SteamOS is Debian based after all, so for Valve, they're just like, oh, you know, they could just say, no, I'm not going to use Ubuntu anymore. We'll stick with Debian. But anyways, Canonical states in the article that it has always been our intention to maintain users' ability to run 32-bit applications on 64-bit Ubuntu. Our kernels specifically support that. Yes, yeah, and staying true to that, they have gone back on their initial sad, state of things and reenacted 32-bit. And you know, the beauty of Linux is that of supporting legacy hardware and software, and Ubuntu getting rid of 32-bit support completely would cripple apps that need it, including Lutris, and we've talked about Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Canonical, yeah, you do realize that Ubuntu is the main gaming Linux distro these days. Question mark. Yes,
It's the
they
main
obviously
distro
did.
for everything.
It is definitely. And you know what's interesting about this is, as I was reading through all this news, you know, we talked recently about the controversial Linux Mint article and the use of having Linux Mint around. Instead of just supporting Cinnamon instead of a whole distro with Cinnamon. And I was just getting ready to tell everyone that the Linux Mint Debian Edition LMDE would be a great alternative to Ubuntu because Debian will continue to support 32-bit lives. So
Yeah.
maybe now I don't have to. So
Yeah, and as we mentioned last week, Debian isn't going anywhere, so that
Yes.
that will always be an alternative. But
Yes.
yeah, this whole statement was less of a screeching U-turn. It's like, oh god. No, it was more of an exasperated fine.
Yes.
And they turned around. It's like, okay, we'll support these libraries that will make sure that Steam and Wine and whatever Ubuntu Studio needs these days, that those will keep running. And they did say that not extensive discussions. They said they had extensive threads on the Ubuntu devel list and also consulted with Valve. But something about Plagman's tweet, Pierre Le Préfet, when he posted that tweet saying, yeah, we're not going to be supporting Ubuntu 19.10, so we're just going to use another distro. Something about that particular tweet made me read a little bit of, if you make our life any harder, we're going to drop you harder than the pound after Brexit. So, yeah. And
Yeah.
when like, I posted this on Discord, and I think it was Jordan and MT and Foxy. They were all talking about it. It's like, one of the points that they bring up in the article is that you've heard about Spectre and Meltdown. Many of the mitigations for those attacks are unavailable to 32-bit systems. Yeah, that is BS. And that is BS because most 32-bit systems don't have any speculative execution, so you don't get to use that one. This was, I said last week that this would be a poop storm, depending on how Canonical would handle it, and the poop storm hit even before they did anything.
Welcome to the internet, though, Pedro. It's already been a few days, and everyone's forgotten.
Yeah, that is a thing. So apparently, Ubuntu is going to keep 32-bit or some select 32-bit libraries. No
Yes.
one canonical. No one is asking you to keep 32-bit ISOs. Last year, we on this
Pedro,
very show.
nobody is. Period. They've already dropped
Yeah.
it. This is old history.
Yeah, on this show, we specifically said it's like that's okay.
Yeah.
That was inevitable. And you brought that up again. That's why this led us to stop creating Ubuntu install media for i386 last year. It's like, no one cares about that. Let it go.
You got
Yeah.
again. Ultimately, it boils down to it. This is more sane than option A.
Oh, most definitely.
However, me being me, I got to look at it going, oh, because and I'm not saying this to like spool up an argument or anything like that. As I said last week, somebody's got to do this at some point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was kind of curious of like, now granted, I'm going to be over here on my Fedora Hill with my popcorn watching how it goes, but I was like, okay, let's see how this works out. Let's come up, because say what you want. I mean, no, the wine team following through their mailing list, there was movement. They were like, okay, we actually need to work on something now, to where now it's like, yeah, we'll get back around to it maybe later. You know, as opposed to Valve's
Yeah.
like, have fun with that. We're not doing anything.
Yeah, no, Valve went straight up like, oh, you're making our life a little bit harder, are you? Goodbye.
Other
Right.
stuff to do.
Yes.
Okay, we're done with that. That's it happened. If the world's a better
Yes.
place, we'll never have to do internet drama again. All right.
Yeah.
On the road to
Hopefully.
Fedora Workstation 31, wanted to bring this up, give it a mention, because I've been playing around with Pipewire recently, because that is the new future, the new hotness. In 10 years, when Wayland becomes a thing, I want to be ready. And that's kind of what they talk about in the blog. This is blog.gnome.org. All this is going to be in our show notes. Just the work that's been going into getting everything up and running, including Pipewire, just some graphical changes and all that fun stuff. I'm interested because there's finally work being done with the NVIDIA binary driver with support for that with the Wayland. So that's going to be interesting to see how that rolls out. And some of the backend work, they are looking for people to help test out with some of the backend on Pipewire. That is going to be the one tool for your audio and for screen sharing, WebRTC, and all that, which is available right now in Chrome. You have to enable it with the Chrome flags, but they want people to play around with that, which I really want to do, because after digging around, I'm like, yo, there's now jack support in Pipewire. You have to enable that option. So I'm looking for a way to get rid of Pulse Audio completely. And I think Pipewire with Chrome plus jack might be a way to do that. There's also some mentions of, updates with Flatpak, stuff they're doing, and the Fedora toolbox. So a bunch of cool stuff.
Nice.
GNOME Classic for the hipsters. And what else do we have going on in your Pedro?
Well, we have actually one of the bits that they mentioned in the Wayland section that the stupid fly is annoying me. They say that finally there is the NVIDIA binary graphics driver support question. So you can run a native Wayland session on top of the binary driver, no issues, and you had that ability for a very long time. Unfortunately, there has been no support for the binary driver in X Wayland, and thus X applications running in Wayland. And they've actually sent some code to NVIDIA for them to review and hopefully get NVIDIA to implement something that'll support that code and get it working so we can have X Wayland support in the NVIDIA binary drivers, because we all remember that NVIDIA wants to do EGL streams, and GNOME and everyone else wants to do...
Why do you hate proprietary EGL? And
I don't know. But yeah, so there's been that bit of a kerfuffle going on, and GNOME and Red Hat, I'm guessing, probably went to NVIDIA just like, okay, here's some code. How about you support this instead? So we'll have to wait and see how NVIDIA reacts to that. But if NVIDIA does agree to that and they tailor their drivers to support it, X-Wing not only becomes a possibility, it all of a sudden becomes something that I can see myself using on this very box on the very near
Yeah.
future. So yeah,
Hmm.
go. You go.
Oh, it does. Pipewire is a couple of reasons, but was definitely helped in my decision to move our main render box and over to Fedora. I want to be able to play with that because that is going to be the future. I see Alan say, "Yeah, Pulse Audio works with Jack." It is like, do you want X runs? Let me show you how you get X runs.
Yeah.
And that is using the Jack Pulse Audio bridge. It's just the reality of life. Both of these boxes are tied into using that because Chrome's like, man, we're never going to enable Jack. And Firefox is like, it's there, but you got to compile it from source. I'm like, I don't know because WebRTC with Firefox is dodgy in the first place. Looking forward to and I want NVIDIA and the Wayland and all that. I want that to collaborate because I think I was just for myself. I've never played with Wayland because I don't have anything to these boxes maybe. With
Yeah,
Intel integrated
it'll work on
graphics.
the
Yeah.
Optiplexes.
Yeah.
I've tried it on the laptops, and yeah, if you have Intel graphics with Mesa, it'll work just fine.
And in this release, one of their main focuses was finishing the Wayland transition and removing their X windowing system dependency without the need of using X Wayland in the GNOME shell is actually their biggest goal. And I was really impressed actually with how they will implement this and still support older software. An X server, X Wayland, would only be started if you actually run an X application, and when you shut that application down, the X server will be shut down too. I thought that was a ingenious way to work around solve that problem. And what's really cool also is game mode, which optimizes gameplay on Linux, is being updated to work well with games packaged with Flatpaks.
Feral?
So that's, yeah. And Feral Interactive games, yes. And they are finishing work on integrating the Dell Canvas Totem, which is the device we talked about last year that is a large format graphics tablet with a stylus and also a turnable knob that can be placed onto the graphics tablet. And
It's
the
a
Dell,
digital nipple.
yeah,
Yes.
well, it's very
an
important.
oversized nipple.
Yeah, it's very important. The totem is very actually important and used extensively in the art, design, animation, video editing, and game houses. And Red Hat RPM distros are at the forefront, of course, of this technology. So it's really, really wonderful. Lots of huge.
I want one of those Dell
updates.
Canvas monitors, but they're so
Yes.
stupidly expensive.
I know. Yes.
All right. That's a thing. That's neat. Always, I got to keep track of it now because.
Fedora 31, it's right around the corner.
Yeah. Neo dodged a bullet on that. I mean, I love Fedora, but
Yes.
it's a bit more. I really wish we were talking in the pre-show. I was like, man, I'd really like to run CentOS, but then again, that's a whole other can of chainsaws I don't want to have to deal with.
Negativos repos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will end up with a Frank. Again, Hannah Montana Linux left in a room with me for a day. It's going to be back to wherever it's at right now. All right. Zorin OS.
Yay!
People have been talking about that. That's the thing.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Zorin OS new version 15 release and how much we liked this Ubuntu 18.04.2 LTS derivative aimed at new users to Linux. Now Zorin is collaborating with Star Labs, a UK-based manufacturer specializing in computers.
UK-based? That's not what the CW show Flash just told me. Star Labs. This is in Capital City, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not that Star Labs.
Not that Star Labs, no.
Shut up, Barry.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah, so Star Labs is a UK-based manufacturer specializing in computers designed for Linux. And they have 2 laptops that are now available with Zorin OS 15 core pre-installed, which is really awesome. Actually, these laptops have gotten really, really good reviews. So I was really happy to see this.
And it's they come in both Ultrabook and Netbook form factors, so that's 13.3 inches and 11.6. I guess that's the smallest they're willing to go because netbooks aren't really a thing, but stick around for the next story.
Yeah.
This one, the Star laptop that they say is like the flagship of the Star Labs laptops. It actually comes with a quad-core Intel i7, which basically after you apply all of the Spectre mitigations and you disable hyperthreading, that's all you're getting. It's a quad-core.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it is 800 pounds. That's not
Yeah.
too bad considering the form factor, and it only comes with 8 gigs of RAM, granted, but it does come with a 480 gigabyte SSD. And with that resolution screen on a 13.3 inch display, that's not a bad price, actually. Not
Pe-
bad at all.
I think it's a
No.
neat piece of kit, but I'm gonna ask you a question, Pedro.
Hmm?
You ever look at a 10-inch laptop and be like, man, that's just too big?
Admittedly, I used one of those for like the last 3 years of university. That was my netbook that I
All
carried
right.
around with me.
Do you ever look at a, I don't know, 9-inch laptop? I'm like, man, if it was not that big.
I did get that with the Chromebook. It is an 11.6 inch laptop, and it's like, yeah, it could do with being a bit smaller because those bezels around the screen, they don't need to be that big.
So if a company made a laptop and they called it technically not 10 inches or 9 inches, that
Or yeah, like have a 9-inch screen and basically 10-inch wide.
yeah,
Yeah, that'd be nice.
if
That'd
something
be
like
very
that
nice.
existed, yeah. Tell me about it.
And speaking of 9-inch screens, crowdfunding for the GPD P2 Max 8.9-inch laptop begins June
GPD?
26. Yay! On Indiegogo, where they are taking pre-orders. And this is GPD of the GPD Pocket fame, the ultra mini pocketable gaming computers
I
that
still
you can
want
buy.
one of those.
I know, me too. So what's really awesome is the GPD P2 is a nice modern netbook, ultrabook that weighs 1.5 pounds with
That thing's
lots
the
of
size of
power.
my thumb.
Yes, it would be too small for Vin.
Have you seen me try to type on a 10-inch tablet? It's adorable.
Yeah.
It is basically 9 inches across, so yeah, this is proper netbooksville.
That's
Hey,
not a
well-
netbook. That's a netbook for ants.
It's still bigger than my original EPC. So,
Yeah, those were 7-inch.
7-inch, yeah.
Yeah, but here's
So,
the thing about the
and-
netbook. Those Triple E, I have one of the. You didn't expect it to laptop. It was a novelty item. You're like, that's cool. Look at this. All right.
Yeah. And this has
This
so
one,
much more power.
these have Celerons. Admittedly, they're the
Yeah.
Celerons that come with well, they're basically the new Atoms. They're the Y3 processors.
Yeah.
And they're running Unigine
I was
Heaven.
about to say, now they're just
Yes.
being mean to it.
Do you want to burn whatever surface you are laying that teeny tiny little netbook on? That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And your
Well,
second thought was, all
yeah.
right, does it support Vulcan?
It's Intel. It
It's
most
Intel.
likely will, yeah.
Yes, yes. Well, I think it's awesome. It has a 2560 by 1600 screen, which is really high resolution for something of the size.
For less than 9
And,
inches, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good, and
You know
it looked
what?
really
I'm
good
going to
with.
buy one of these. I'm going
you
to
know.
disable DPI scaling and give it to Strider.
Yeah, make the boy
Yes.
suffer.
After I put a
Yes.
little hot glue in the HDMI out.
Yeah, and it's great. It comes with up to 16 gigs of RAM and up to 512 gigs of storage, and a nice Celeron processor, 2 different versions. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to sit back, and the first time on the internet someone used the word nice and Celeron in the same sentence.
yeah.
They're
Well,
not as bad as they used to be.
there's
to be
not that.
honest.
They are not celery chips. They used to be called celery trips, and that was a good name for them.
No, I've always been able to pronounce it.
Yeah. Celeron chips have come a long way. And
But yeah, no, Celerons nowadays, they even make quad-core Celerons. No
Yeah.
hyperthreading, but then again, you really don't want to enable that at this point.
It'd be like if Lamborghini made a skateboard, man.
Yes. So, and I'm guessing that Wimpy will probably put Ubuntu Mate on this as well as he did for the GPD Pocket 2.
Yep.
And yeah, he
It
really
looks
enhanced that for GPD
like a
Pocket.
genuinely cool device. I mean, if you're just like out and about and somebody like zaps you with a shrink ray and you're like, man, I still need a laptop. This,
Yeah, no, that is hand sized. It's like either that dude that was recording the video is huge, or that is very much my palm.
I was about to say that
Yeah.
would fit in here handily.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
All right.
Aw.
Pedro, tell me about this new AMD hotness because you put it in the show
Well,
notes.
It's not
Yay.
directly Linux related, but I know for a fact that I'm buying one of the 3000 Ryzens when they come out, or probably at the end of July. But yeah, one certain Spanish website, let me see if I
Spanish.
can...
It was Portuguese, son. Quit trying to throw Spain under the bus. They were the
No,
ones that
no,
leaked
no,
it.
no, no, no,
The
no.
first leak was from a Portuguese site because that's right.
El Chupazas Informático is very much a Spanish website, and
Yeah.
they decided to break embargo on the Ryzen 5 3600 review. And I'm guessing they're never going to get any more early samples because AMD doesn't play ball like that. But yeah, they decided to put out the results that they got on an X470 motherboard because they didn't have an X570 to test on. So at worst, like long story short, at worst, it's giving Jordan 7600K a run for the money, as in it's actually beating it in just about every single test. And the at best, like the best case scenario in multi-threaded workloads, it's coming neck to neck with the 9900K. Now, you need to keep in mind that the 9900K is one of Intel's stupidly overpriced processors, and the 3600 is has been announced with an MSRP of $199. $199 going
I
neck
know.
to neck in multi-threaded performance with the 9900K.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So the
amazing.
53600 is basically a 1700X Ryzen 7.
With 2 less cores.
Mhm.
I didn't stutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 6-core, 12-thread that's performing on par with an 8-core from the previous generation. Well, actually, it's actually doing a heck of a lot better in single-threaded performance than the 2700X.
Mhm.
So it's, yeah, it's for a supposedly $200 MSRP processor, that's very good.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I've been really impressed with how far AMD has come with their 7 nanometer Zen 2 core architecture. It's really been amazing, as opposed to the 14 nanometer that Intel has been using. So
Yeah.
it's really been really good for them. And if these reviews hold steady and they look like they will, I will be also buying a 3600 this year. I'm gonna do it! Yay!
What are the prices going to be for these?
I'm sure they will be $200 on release, and before the first week is out, they will be $250.
So I guess the question you really get at is like, what's the 2700X going to be?
The 2700X has already dropped significantly
Yeah.
because like 3 weeks ago it was 330 pounds and now it's 270. So
That's
yeah.
really the game. Like this is Vin thing. This is what I'm looking at when a new processor comes out. And I was like, I don't care what it costs. I'm like, what is it going to drive its previous? Because I'm usually a generation behind, just reasons. But
yeah, and the 2700X right now, before July 7th, is still the reigning champion in price performance as far as consumer grade processors go. It's a very good processor for 270 pounds. But yeah, if this, like Jill said, if this holds up when July 7th rolls around, I think I might be happy with my 3700X purchase.
Yay!
good times. It's good to have been around long enough to see AMD. We don't know yet, but this looks like the second coming of baby Jesus AMD,
Yeah.
when they
Like
first
they do.
rolled out with the
Yeah.
Thunderbird, and they're like, bam,
Mm-hmm.
competition's
had-
back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they had the first series Ryzen, and they had the Zen Plus series with the 2000 series Ryzen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, competitive, and then they improved on that competitiveness and basically put out the 2600 and the 2700X, which are the best processors in their particular
I'm
price
sorry,
categories.
Pager. Nothing you said rhymed with Threadripper, so it's just static noise to me. Right now.
Yeah, the Threadrippers, AMD decided to delay the relay of
They
the
didn't delay
release of
anything.
those until the end of the year. So
It's like, yo, yeah, we're still working on that. Why did the internet? Oh, internet was doing the internet thing, right?
yeah,
We're
they
gonna-
didn't announce it.
Right.
They delayed the announcement.
Which I'm genuinely curious. I want to see how it shakes out, because if you're gonna have like 8-core, which is fine, but if you're gonna have a 16-core part,
Yeah, the
Wow.
3950X looks pretty good.
it's gonna be a thing. Terrifying. All right. Good news, everyone. Open source and Creative Commons kind of prevails in a weird way.
They did, and MetaBrains. You may remember we had Frezzo on.
So yeah, we talked about that. I still don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Me neither. But the fact of the matter is, they are an aggregator of information about a great deal many things, and
Mhm.
they had two specific pictures in their website that they were using, which were Creative Commons pictures, and they mentioned the name of the photographer. It's Larry Philpott. And
Mhm.
they were using those pictures in one of those pages, and a copyright troll decided to go for one of a couple of loopholes that are present in US copyright law when it comes to Creative Commons, and they tried to do what copyright trolls do: extort money out of them to see if they could make profit out of MetaBrains. And MetaBrains contacted a lawyer company local to them from what was it? Pillsbury, Winthrop, Shaw, Pittman LLP, and they got in touch with them, and it's like, okay, we'll take it to the board and see if we can do this pro bono. And kudos, major kudos to that particular lawyer firm. They accepted to do it pro bono, and like, they immediately fired back. It's like, nope, this isn't a legitimate thing. Then they gathered as much evidence as they could, and they presented the counter claim, and the copyright troll gave up on the case. So the case was dismissed with prejudice, which means that the copyright troll can no longer bring this claim back against MetaBrains.
This is
Kudos.
very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's going to set precedence, and that's really good to see. I mean, it made me happy, not to read the story, but how they handled it. They walked in,
Yeah.
played it
And
logically.
that lawyer firm, seriously,
Yeah.
kudos.
They did a great job.
Very important,
Yeah.
and especially when you're something like Music Brains or anything. When I see Creative Commons media, I'm like, oh, well, that's safe to use, which it is, but that still doesn't mean that you're going to not end up 300 grand in the hole trying to say, yes, see, I told you it was.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not always going to get attorney fees back. That's terrifying. I'm
Mm.
sad they had to go through that, man. I would
Yeah.
wish that. All right, I'd wish that on my worst enemy, but like my second worst enemy and above,
Oh,
no,
no.
I wouldn't. Good to know. Good to know. And if you ever want to keep track of like law stuff, legalese, gaming related, or stuff like this, I think Pedro and I are both patrons of
French.
Leonard French, man.
Yeah.
Support that guy. He does a show every Sunday morning. Go check that. It's a good watch. I always have that going when I'm making this show. And it's a pretty good comedy. Speaking of Patreon, that is how you can support independent media, like the nonsense we get away with 4 days a week, 5 days a week. It could be more. Patreon.com/Linux Gamecast. 117 beautiful party patrons kicking in $266 a week to make all of this possible. It pays our bills, pays for hosting, and all the cool little knickknacks that we buy and play with and make videos about. This is how you can buy and play with and do crazy things. A little bit terrifying. Looking forward to a Raspberry Pi 4. That's going to be something. You do get access to this realm of nonsense where we're at the other 6 days a week. It's in Discord. We have that. It's available. We're in there because that's one thing I see a lot of creators are not active in their own community.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the case with us. We are actively arguing and having good hugs
Yes.
with each other.
Yeah.
We are butting heads on Discord.
It is. It's an interesting group of people that we definitely got going on. Plus, how does getting your own custom RSS feed? Yeah, there's another show we do every week, which is Behind the Scenes, which we invite you to come listen to live every Saturday at, I guess I should point that out. Two things. At 8:30, which will, starting in July, be at 7:30 because we're moving the Saturday show up, Letting Gamecast Weekly, up an hour just to make my life harder.
1 hour.
1 hour. Pedro gets not to be
I get
up
to
quite
go
so
to
late.
bed at like 6 a.m. instead of 7 a.m.
This is, I mean, it boils down to, 6 years ago when we started doing this. I mean, it genuinely, I would always try to get home by like 3:15 on Saturdays. I was barely getting the wheels on the ground at 8:30. It's like, whoa, okay, let's try it. And then been watching for any amount of time. It was sometimes midnight before we got things running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your help, we've been able to streamline things and get it tied up, and it's a bit more redundant. So thanks for that. T-shirts. We got T-shirts. That's the thing. I will question your sanity if you wear one, but if you do, send me a picture so I can be like, hey, look, somebody's wearing one.
Yeah,
of our
we will
t-shirts.
totally feature your picture. Store.linuxgamecast.com.
Maybe I'll get a
Go there,
T-shirt
find your
with
favorite
you
design.
wearing a T-shirt. Maybe I'll wear that. Somebody asked last week, we do have PayPal because I was like, I don't know about Patreon. We like Patreon because we like the people buy. I like Jack. I know a guy who knows Jack, and he's like, he's real cool people. Plus, it allows us to like stay in contact with you. But we do have PayPal, Bitcoin. What else do we have? Pedro, help me out. I'm horrible at marketing.
Let's see. We do have the
LWW
Magic
shirts.
Internet. Yes, we have the T-shirts, Magic Internet monies,
Do we got anything
PayPal.
else? Amazon things.
Amazon.
We have the
stores.
Amazon store. Yes, if you want to figure out exactly what it took Ven to put together this bit of insanity that you see right here, right now, go to the Amazon store. There's most of the equipment right there. There's the.
What do you mean
Yeah.
most of the equipment? Do you know how long it took me to
It's
catalog
all
that?
there.
This is like if
Yeah.
you want to roll your own studio, that's kind of the whole point. We've been meaning to make that list forever. You're like, hey, how do you do that thing? Hardware's up there. Don't have to buy it from Amazon. Copy, paste, go get it on Newegg or something like that. It's there for the purpose of like open sourciness hardware.
And there's also, if you want the cheaper options, my headset and my my mouse here are also there. So those
Yeah.
work great when Linux.
Yeah.
It's a list of things that we use that we know that work.
Yep.
Yep. Everything but pig computer cases that will never be on there
Yeah.
until I get one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a quick slice of pie. We do get a bit of news. This fell
Yeah,
out a
Yeah,
little
this is
bit.
huge.
it's
right?
teeny tiny little bit of news.
Yeah.
Raspberry Pi 4 starting at $35, to which I was along with the rest of the internet going, you said there wasn't going to be a Raspberry Pi 4 in 2029. Why'd you? Okay, I'll give you my money. Yeah, it's out. It's new hotness. 1.5 gigahertz quad core, Cortex A72. So they're saying it's 3 times as fast. And the benchmarks I've seen back that up. 1 gig, 2 gig. And what got me interested, 4 gigs of LP DDR4 SDRAM. That's a lot faster. Also, look at me. I'm smiling internally a little bit. I don't know. Smiling
Yeah.
hurts my face. An actual gigabit Ethernet port not attached to the
Full
USB.
throughput.
Yay.
Bluetooth 5.0, 802.11 AC wireless, 2 USB 3.0 ports, 2 USB 2.0, dual monitor, mini or micro HDMI that will support 4K 30 on 2 screens, 4K 60 on one, and it comes with 2, so when one of them will break, I mean, these things just break, you'll have another one that you can use. And they're saying 4K 60 with the hardware encoding, video decoding. So, and complete backwards compatibility, new version of Raspbian, and oh yeah, the power thing is now
It
USB-C.
increased a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just amazing. It now supports 2 4K monitors via 2 micro HDMI ports. They've converted the one full-size HDMI to 2 micro HDMI ports. And it has up to 4 gigs of RAM option, which is only $55. And it's truly the cheapest low-end desktop replacement computer you can buy now. It's amazing.
Man, I don't know. I've already seen people online like, well, it doesn't have this and this. And it's like, it's a $55 Tinker
dollar
toy.
computer.
Dude.
Yeah. And what's really cool is go ahead, Pedro.
It's a 50, over here it's 53 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ARM64, the new A72s. You're getting 2 micro HDMI 2.0 connectors, which can do up to 3840 2160 a piece. And you're like 4 gigs of LPDDR4 RAM. That's significant for a board, credit card sized. That is very, very significant.
Yeah.
It's I saw a lot of people saying in the the announcements like, oh yeah, it's a single board computer that could be a desktop replacement. It's like
you do that and you're like, yeah, we're getting there, the next one.
Yeah.
We'll get there, but yes, it is a very powerful single board computer, but even the most powerful Chrome boxes out there fail to deliver on that particular front. And yeah, let's be honest, it's a very nice Tinker toy, but calling it a full-on desktop replacement, it is not.
I don't even think the Raspberry Pi found it. They're not even like, man, this is a desktop.
Yeah.
No, it was the other news sites.
All right. Well, man, don't worry though, because you can't buy one. They were. I checked
Completely sold out.
Sold out,
everywhere. You can. They're not even going to start shipping until I think like July 16th. Anyway, this was all like pre-order, but now you can officially pre-order.
Birthday gift?
No.
Just saying.
You have to send me one for your birthday.
We can arrange that. Probably
This is,
won't get there by my birthday, but we can arrange that.
See, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I wish I knew somebody that lived in Cambridge near the pie store.
Yes.
Well, near is debatable. It's like 5 miles away, but sure.
Near. I run more than that every morning.
Yeah.
Run,
Probably
not
get
walk.
there faster if I ran there than taking the bus.
Okay, I see. I was thinking about I had to think to myself, everyone is like, what is it going to cost to get Patreon to go there? It's like, I'm going to have to buy him something. I was already on your wish list. I was like,
buy me another one? It's like, okay, go there and buy 2. You can keep it.
Yeah.
Send it back. Dude, if you would run and live stream, would you actually had to like jog? I could be convinced. I could like go a couple 100 pounds. I'm just for my amusement. I probably wouldn't air it. I would just watch it for myself, for my own enjoyment.
Oh.
I have a phone that could probably live stream it. We can discuss price later.
What am I looking? Because as soon as you get up to, okay, it's got real gigabit Ethernet on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. 4 gigs of RAM. It's like, okay. And what I need to find out is whether or not I can build an OptiPi or a Piplex. Because we have 2 Optiplexes right now, which are dual core, 4-threaded i3s with 4 gigs of RAM and gigabit Ethernet. That's all. And they can run Chrome. That's it.
Yep.
That's all they need to do. These 2 computers right here. That's they're butter robots. I want to know if I can build a $55 butter robot.
Yes.
Well, if there's one thing those Broadcom chips can do, it's hardware decoding. So
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
going to work with Chromium.
Chrome. Yeah, that's the.
force enable hardware acceleration.
We'll
It's
have to see.
Chromium.
Again, it's
Yeah.
$55. I'm going to pick one up. It'll make for a fun video. And then it should work
Yeah.
with the video encoders on these boxes. It should. USB 3. That's another thing that I needed, So
Yeah.
stay tuned. So what if you looked at a Raspberry 4 and you're like, nah, man, I'm a hipster.
That's way too powerful.
Yeah. Too big, massive. It wouldn't go well with my 8-inch laptop.
And maybe you were really pining really hard for the old chip, the one that was going to be a $6 computer that never really came to be. Well,
Yeah.
now there's something else, and it's a $10 part, so it's right down there with the Raspberry Pi Zero W, and it has 256 gigs of RAM.
No,
and
quit lying to people. It does not.
no, it has 256 megabytes of RAM. The
Incorrect.
4 GBs.
It has 4 GBs.
No, the 4 GBs. He's talking about the Raspberry Pi 4.
Don't care. I'm reading the word GBs.
Yeah,
But yeah,
GBs.
no. Here, this one, the what do they call it? The Rock Pi S has only 256 megabytes of RAM. It is very much in line with what the chip, the CHIP, was trying to do, but it has a reasonable price, and more than the chip did, it has Wi-Fi built in. So this is down there with the Raspberry Pi Zero W. It's tiny, like minuscule. You desolder the Ethernet and the USB ports and maybe the GPIO pins if you're not going to use them. And all of a sudden you have something that's teeny tiny that'll fit just about anywhere.
This is true. However, this does have one thing in common with the Raspberry Pi 4.
Gigabit? No.
It's sold the delete expletive out everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense when you have a system on a chip or a single board computer like this that's tiny. People immediately go, "Ooh, I have a use for that," and they disappear. Like the
No, you
with
don't.
the Raspberry.
Okay, that's factually true. You go, ooh, I get a use for that, and it's still in the box. Isn't that right,
Mhm.
Raspberry Zero?
Yeah.
Hi, I'll go get you in a minute.
Yeah, the original Raspberry Pi Zero, when it first came out, it was sold out everywhere, and then they released a Raspberry Pi Zero W, which came with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It sold out everywhere, and you maybe now you can get like 1 or 2 Raspberry Pi Zeros without the Wi-Fi's. But good luck, seriously.
But
Yeah.
this is really good.
Well-
I mean, we were all excited about the chip. And unlike the chip, if you go
Yeah.
back and watch way back, I was talking to one of my hardware friends. I'm sure Pedro remembers we were talking about it. And he just straight up like laid it out for me. He's like, even in bulk from China, you can't build this thing for $9.
Yeah.
And we just sit back and waited, and it's like, and there it goes. So
Yeah.
this is priced
So
where
sad.
sustainability and keep it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And like the Picos that they had built on the chip, this could very well replace it.
I've always wanted to step on a Lego with Wi-Fi. This will fulfill
Those
dreams.
GPIO pins will immediately embed themselves into your skin.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be a cyborg. Jill, what's up?
Yeah. Well, I have a pocket chip, and this is a really nice upgrade. It'd be really nice if it was exact same form factor, so I can stick it into my pocket chip mini computer. So, but don't know yet if it will be compatible with the chip or not. But I was really excited about this because it fills that need with the pocket chip, with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and everything else in the small little package.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Right on. So maybe, all right, if you're sitting around, I want to hear from everyone at home. If you got a chance, man, tell me the most, not dirty strange, but like the weirdest use case you've come up for. Well, not just a Pi, but a single board computer. Because I know you have. And if you want to do that, how can you go about it, Pedro?
Well, you can go about it in a multitude of
Carrier
ways, but
pigeon.
yes, you can actually attach it to a carrier pigeon and I don't know, send it somewhere. We'll pick it up, don't worry. Or you can go to linuxgamecast.com and hit the contact button. Make sure to pick
Squawk or
LW.
squawk?
Squawk.
Squawk.
Make sure to pick
Squawk.
LWDW on the show selection box and give us the rest of the necessary details and send us your message. Make sure if you are building something off of a Raspberry Pi or one of these single board computers, include some pictures or a story if you want.
Beware
It's,
our spam golem, though, man. I go back and check the
Yes.
filter like when I remember to on that exact schedule. There was a guy they weren't trying to send us keys, but it was a marketer
Mm.
for video games. We do a show about video games on Saturday. They didn't give up, man. They had like 19 tries at it. And it is like, yo, you can't post all that. And they're like, well, I'm just going to keep at it, buddy. So keep
Yeah,
that in mind with like
A couple of
hyperlinks and stuff like that.
URLs
We know
is
how to
probably
go.
fine.
You know, just
Yeah.
name what it is. All right. So, Friezo.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, since this is about Jill's t-shirt, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Okay. Last week, Jill was wearing a certain T-shirt, which she's wearing again. And Frezza was like the whole time trying to figure out exactly what that T-shirt says. What did the text on Jill's T-shirt say in LWDW173? Good evening, Mr. Gates.
Friezo,
Question mark,
dude,
question
we
mark,
get
question
it.
mark,
You can't
question
read,
mark.
man. Just be like, hey, man.
Your server today. Her microphone was obscuring that bit of the text, and I ended up spending too much time of the video trying to figure out what it said instead of listening to y'all to what y'all were saying. Until I eventually gave up and decided to write and ask instead of focusing more on that. Okay.
So so Frezzo of MetaBrains fame, yes, he works at MetaBrains, the story we talked about earlier. It says, "Good evening, Mr. Gates. I'll be your server today," and has a picture of Tex the Penguin getting ready to stomp on the Microsoft campus in Redmond, Washington. And actually, this was one of my very first Linux shirts that I bought in the late 1990s from Penguin Computing back in the day. So it's a vintage shirt in Linux
You
terms.
really gotta like the like late 90s. That's when you could like straight up rip somebody's idea off the internet and put it on a shirt and be like, that's ours now.
Yes, yes.
We're selling
course-
it. It's ours.
And of course, all the shirts then they didn't make Linux shirts for women back then, so it's too big for me. So, but that's I'm used to men's Linux shirts.
I'm just
That's
gonna stay out of
you know.
that. You know?
Yeah, no, see, I was going to make the point that Frezza was just checking Jill out throughout the whole show, but...
Oh,
You can't listen, man. You know, Pedro, speaking of t-shirts, I'm impressed you're not wearing one.
No, I'm still wearing
No,
the
he's
exact
gonna-
same shirt I wore for work today.
You're almost dressed like a civilized human being, man. Yeah. I mean, it's shocking. All right, my fellow civilized human beings, we're going to bounce out of here. We're going to roll some credits, thank the people who make this show possible, and we'll see you next week.
yay! Yay, chat room! We love you. Yay, Vin! Yay, Pedro!
Yay, Jill?
I like to imagine that you practice this.
Oh, you know Jill does.
Get good.
I actually have been. No.
That's why it sounds so artificial. Quit practicing.
Thank you to our producers, our wonderful producers and executive producers. We love you all.
So many
So
of you,
many.
and you're all awesome. So very awesome.
It's amazing. LWDW 176. Amazing.
Yep, it's gone.
It's gone.
You're just looking at a dark screen now. Goodbye.
Hi, bye everyone.
I was watching them. They didn't know what to do. It was cute.
It's like, okay, are you going to be doing anything with that? No? Okay.
I was amusing myself. That was my reward. Going to sleep. What time is it, Pedro? 9?
It is 9:31.
Oof, I haven't. What time is it, North Theory? Extan.
Arthur and Sextan is
plus one?
yeah, I think it's +1, so it'd be 10:31.
10:31.
Okay,
Man,
that's legitimate.
10 o'clock. I think I've passed out at like 10 o'clock before.
Mhm.
4:30 in the morning. I'm up by then.
Yeah, Patrick. No, I did see you post that. It was just we were talking about a different chip.
No, Jill, I
So-
ran. I put while you're in the middle of a show. You need to stop what you're doing. Steam sale, man. I didn't see anything. This is the problem. I looked. I'm going to
GTA
continue.
5. That was it. Oh, and Rogue Squadron, because it
Yeah,
was like
I-
a pound something.
You know,
I said it would be nice if there was a drop-in replacement for the chip, and I knew there were others.
don't finish work for another half hour, so you're screwing off at work. I fully support that. Wait, no. If they catch you, continuing education.
Mm-hmm. All right, give
Yeah,
me
no, very good.
couple of minutes. I need to pee massively. I'll be right back.
Violin.
Yeah, Patrick. It didn't say that in the article, so I couldn't say something that I didn't know. It looked like the same form factor as the chip, but
I need to go check and see how my electric cello's doing. I haven't seen it in a few years. I know exactly where it's at, though. It's helped 3 students get through music school at UGA. Because they can't
Aw.
play cellos in the dorms, and you can plug the headphones into it.
oh,
So-
that's nice.
In a
Yeah.
way, that was $1,200 well spent, question mark.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that. Are you going to be passing it along to another student?
It's already
soon?
went through 3 of them, Jill, so yeah, probably.
Oh.
They just find another person. I mean, they check. It's not like it's UGA School of Music's now. I learned what I needed to from it. I learned how to play cello, so that was good.
Very cool.
Yeah, is it as useless as the pocket chip?
Mhm.
Asking the real questions.
Yeah. It's more powerful, that's for sure.
Well, no, it's
Yeah.
not, Jill. That's not how technology works.
Yeah.
Things don't get faster. I know they tried to make an argument. I think not an argument, an article. Linus was like, "Yeah, Moore's law. That hasn't been a thing for the past couple of years already, and yeah, we're going to be running into some issues with software because admittedly, there's a lot of software that is written with the, don't worry, it'll work next year when something faster comes out." You get bad code. You start running into that wall. Very inefficient code. You know, when you have things like Electron.
Yes. Electron wrap all the things. Electron wrap in a snap. Making an app image.
Frequency analyzer. Make a frequency analyzer. I mean, I'm not going to stop you, man.
Oh, that's cool, Chips.
I don't think I've ever made anything cool with a pie.
Hmm.
I made things of questionable use, but definitely nothing in this is cool.
Aw.
Yeah, that'd be neat, Jibs.
Mm-hmm.
We could have an
Yeah.
oscilloscope off.
Yeah, yes. Well, I think one of the last coolest things I'd done is we did, the Raspberry Pi photo booth at the Linux Chicks booth. And that went off great. The community loved it. It was so much fun. Mhm.
That was getting a bit tight.
You gotta learn to cross your legs, boy.
Oh,
I did.
you're holding it.
I was.
Oh,
That's why I stay
Pedro.
very stationary, man. I'm like, I'm good as long as I don't move.
Turns out 6.3 volume beer makes you pee a lot.
It's not even a drink, man. Let's see. These are gone, so that's 24. And this has got a little bit left in the bottom. This is a liter. Wait, no, this is a 2 liter. Almost 2 liters. I'm well hydrated.
Yay.
And apparently I'm going to have some hate mail next week because apparently the chip has Wi-Fi already.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was mentioning. Yeah.
Oh, man, you mean a thing they don't make anymore? It's got a thing on it?
I mean, if Mir is anything to go by, I'm going to get all of the hate mail next week.
That's
Yeah. Aw. You and me, Pedro.
It can be test, man. That's another reason I prefer my stainless steel straws. Killing a person with a spoon's a challenge. Stainless steel straw, that's easy, man.
In the nose or into the eye. There you go.
Dude, you could just straight up stab somebody to death with this. There wouldn't be, you wouldn't have to get movie creative with it. You just like stab, stab, stab. All right, we're good. It's my personal defense straw. It's a safety straw.
Yeah. What's that you have in your pocket there? Oh, it's a straw.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you carry a straw around? Environmentally friendly.
Hey, you could probably take that on a plane.
You can take
If
pretty
you
much
put it
anything
in
on
a
a plane.
suitcase
Uh,
and it goes through the X-ray and they ask what the hell's that's a straw. Oh, okay.
yeah.
The backscatter X-ray things only pick it up if it's on your body. If it's between you and your body, let's say like on a coat, anything in there, it can't see. They don't tell you that because it's security theater.
Oh, but that's
Yeah.
why they ask you to take off your coat. Or at least they do here.
I got TSA pre. They don't ask me. They're like, "What's up, Greg?" All right. Also at a small airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know the TSA there. Like, I do. It's like, hey, man.
Well, here at LAX, you can't even take toothpaste with you.
You know, if you go in and out of LAX, I don't know. Oh, that's a hard SFO or LAX. Ugh. That's like no matter whatever you play, you just lose, man. I'd probably drive up to Oakland and go out of there.
Okay, so mental note, don't fly directly to Atlanta. Ven knows the TSA people is just gonna mess with you.
No. Yeah.
No, not Atlanta, Hartsfield. No. I'm talking about Athens Airport, perhaps. The little airport.
It's like the Cambridge airport. It's technically an international airport.
The airport where I learned to fly, dude. That one, the little one. I didn't walk into like a Delta cockpit and be like, "Get out of the way, I got this." I played Afterburner on the Genesis.
I played Microsoft Flight Simulator. Where's the F3 key so I can accelerate?
No, what is it? I know how to I know how to fly Excel. Some of you will get that joke.
You go down to cell number 36,265 or whatever.
Heathrow's not a bad airport, all things considered.
Don't fly out of Heathrow. Stan said.
Yeah. It depends whatever I get a direct. I almost always come out of Horsfield to Heathrow. It's direct flight. Don't have to worry about it.
Stansted Airport,
Mm.
really cheap flights to Portugal. Well, comparatively speaking, anyway.
Well, Easter eggs aren't fun when you have the internet.
I guess that's what happened. Good point, Ben. That's probably what happened, Alan.
There's still a few of those.
Yeah, there still are in games. We find them in games all the time.
Yeah.
Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior is just Easter
Is a-
eggs, and
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
it's like, oh, it's pop culture. Put it in there.
Oh, and Borderlands has some Easter eggs.
But they're going Epic exclusive because that's the thing you do nowadays.
Yeah, Chubs, but you want to do it at the regular house or the beach house? They still got the beach house, right?
It's my dad's now. That,
All right,
that they're
we're gonna hang out with
divorced,
his dad.
Yeah. That's actually a very nice apartment.
What about the place you and Nori were staying? Whatever became of that? That was getting fixed up.
Yeah, that's Nori's dad's place. It used to be Nori's grandma's place, and yeah, her dad was running restorations on that, and they're done now.
Mhm.
When we went
Oh,
to
cool.
Portugal for Christmas, it was done basically. It's no longer stupidly cold during the winter, which is good.
Did he get the paperwork and all that finalized for the brothel, or?
Well, if they did a very good job of disguising it because we could not tell.
It's a stealth brothel, dude.
But yeah, no. If you're driving down that particular street during the day, there's one house that immediately jumps out because it's stupidly bright. It's like old. It's not lemon yellow, but it's that really stupidly bright yellow. That's all in between yellow and white.
Somebody Google.
Yeah.
Not lemon yellow, but that stupid.
But Hazard Yellow.
It's not. It's not. You know, like that intense yellow. It's in between
Banana yellow?
white. Yeah, almost banana, but desaturated slightly.
Oh, okay. Pastel yellow.
Yeah, it's really like if the sun is hitting it, it's like.
Like a really bright canary yellow. That's
Yeah.
kinda coming to mind.
That's HTML.
that.
Yeah, banana yellow.
Yeah.
Show me on the shirt where the yellow touched you.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely banana yellow. Yeah.
Which one's banana? Where is banana?
It's right there, that picture.
Well, it's got a bunch of words, so.
Bumblebee, banana, butterscotch, Dijon.
Oh, that's not even yellow, man. That's like imposter yellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically the color.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody handed me a banana that looked like that, I'd hand it right back. I'd be like, nah, we're
Yeah.
good.
That's
Yeah, it's
still
not-
green. Go away. What's the HTML color code? Hold on. Banana. Yeah. Oh. Color HTML.
So what
It
shade
is-
is mellow?
FFE135.
I need that in hex.
X is yeah, that's FFE135.
All right, give it to me in HTML notation then.
HTML. Okay, RGB 255-225-53.
I know F and 0. Those are the two colors I'm good with.
If you want in RGB percents, it's 188.2, 20.8 ish. So yeah, it sticks out. It's very warm during the day, even during the winter, but at night, now that all the walls have been repaired and all the cracks have been sealed in, it's no longer stupidly cold during the night. Which is very nice.
Living in a house
Nice.
with insulation. I wonder, what's that like? I forget.
Yeah.
No idea. I spent like, what, 2 weeks there?
Mellow yellow
I guess
vent.
this place is relatively insulated, at least during the winter, because now that summertime is knocking, it's stupidly hot.
I love visiting my friends' houses with these modern homes made in the 70s. When they cut on the HVAC system and it does something. Fio. That's horrible. My brain, that's going to be one of those stupid facts. All right. Anything else crazy going on? Because I have to, Man, it's a good thing we did that transition to, Jill's video.
Yeah.
Why?
That Jill has a habit of instantly agreeing with things. We didn't do
Okay.
the transition.
Well, you
Okay,
you
you were
skipped
just
it and
testing
went,
Jill. Okay.
That's why I said it's a good thing we did it, which we didn't.
You went straight to the shilling.
Oh, right. Thing in the notes that I wasn't paying attention to
Yeah.
because you skipped right through it. Right. Okay.
So that's going to be interesting. Let's see. What do we want to do about? Well, I guess you can give it an introduction.
Okay.
I mean, I have the technology.
Okay. Yeah, since you had skipped it, I didn't want to, interrupt the skipping.
I mean, I could just leave it out. All it did was create more work.
No, it's a good interview.
And if I hadn't already edited the video, I'm like, fire it. Let's see. How do I want to do this? Let's get a record going. Something beat then. All right. When I cut to you, Jill, say before we do
Okay.
that,
Mhm.
then do that.
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
And 3, 2.
Hi, everyone. This is cool. This is our interview with Nova King
Take
from Scale
2.
17. Oops.
Before we do that,
Mhm.
say the words before we do that so I can cut it in. Jill?
Oh, okay. Okay. I was taking it a different way. Okay.
Do it the way so I can cut it in.
Okay.
In 3, 2.
And before we do that, here is an interview with Nova King from Scale 17X. Nova is actually an amazing person and one of the smartest people I know, and has been Scale's wonder kid for a long time, and actually has become a very good friend of mine. I have been going to his incredible talks at Scale over the last 4 years, which were featured in the Scale The Next Generation Youth Track. And he just tweeted me and the project where we've interviewed him about. He's making progress on it and has now a new name for it called Stardust UI. Mhm. Figured that was a good ending.
All right,
Cool.
Mhm.
we'll cut that in.
Okay.
We'll use science and technology. All right, beautiful people. I'm going to bounce out of here. I do have a bit of an editing job ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of mini pizza bases that I need to.
Mini pizza bases.
Yeah. I don't know, Tesco
Yes.
was selling the like the teeny tiny little hand-sized pizza bases.
You
Like,
mean
I
GDP
can-
pocket?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. It's like, ooh, it's like 4 of them in a packet for a couple of pounds. Gimme.
Do you ever think about just
Can-
making a pizza sandwich?
I haven't yet, but I might.
That
But
was
not-
the look of a man who's thinking, I'm not above that, by the way. Just
I'm totally not above that. That is, yeah. Huh. But not today. Today,
I just
I'm going
really
to
was
make
hoping to have
teeny-tiny little
Nori
pizzas.
look at you with like disdain and disapproval this evening.
So, you mean every single day?
More so than normal. Like a little extra disapproval. Maybe a touch of sadness.
Aww.
Nothing like waking up in the morning and getting that look of disapproval. It's like, oh, you're still alive.
Like Nori, you've been up for like 10 minutes, Nori. Take off the sleeping mask. Oh.
No, I kid. Seriously, kudos to Nori for putting up with me for as long as she did. No one else has.
You can always tell when you know she's watching the stream. All right, beautiful people. We're going to bounce out of here. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. We love you.